In this lesson, you will learn how to find the domain and range and use function notation. Well, what's the domain and range? When a relation is represented as a set of ordered pairs, the domain of the relation is the set of x values, and the range is the set of y values. So if I have an ordered pair x, comma y, or if I had a point 3, comma 4, my x, or the 3, would be considered my domain. Whereas the y coordinate or the 4, that is considered my range. A relation where each value in the domain is paired with just one value in the range is called a function. Let's look at example 1. Identify the domain and range of the relation -2, 3, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 3, 4. Represent the relation with a mapping diagram. It's the relation of function. Well, as you can see, I already did the mapping diagram for this relation. I listed all the x values in my domain. -2 listed here, 0 is listed here, 1 is listed here, and 3 is listed here. These are all my values in my domain. Now I'm going to list my values, the values in the range. Three listed here. Notice how the range is put in order. 2 is listed here. The 3 is listed again, so I don't have to write it. I already wrote the 3. And then the 4 is listed here. And then I do the mapping. The 2 maps onto the 3. The -2 is mapped to the -3. The 0 is matched to the 2. The 1 is also matched to the 3. And the 3 is mapped to the 4. So that's how you do the mapping. Now, let's go ahead and list the domain. The domain is all the x values. Again, that would be -2, 0, 1, and 3. My range is my set of y values. If I do it in order, 3, 2, I have another 3, so I'm not going to list it again, 4. I'm just doing it, looking at it from this way. I could rewrite it to make it in order, but that's not necessary unless you really want to. So that's the range. Notice that each number in the domain is mapped to only one number in the range. This relation is a function. So even though the 2 is mapped to the 3, the -2 is mapped to the 3, and the 1 is also mapped to the 3, the y can have more than one x, but the same x cannot have more than one y. So for example, if I had -2 listed down here and I mapped it to 5, because I have -2 listed twice, it would not be a function if I had a -2 down there. So the x can go to as many, the y can have a lot of x's, but the x can only have one y. So the y can have as many x's as he wants. The boy can have as many girlfriends as he wants. Remember, polygamy back in the day used to be allowed in the Bible. So the y can have as many x's as he wants. However, the female, the X's can only have one man, one male. And that's how I like to remember it. Identify the domain and range of each relation. Use a mapping diagram to determine whether the relation is a function. Now in this one, the mapping diagram wasn't done first, so now you've got to be able to do this on your own. So let's identify the domain and range of the relation first. So our domain is our set of X values. So let's go ahead and write that down. 2, 4, 1, 2 is listed again, so I'm not going to write it again, and then 0. Then let's do the range. 3, 6, 5. There's another 5, so I'm not going to write it again. There's another 5, I'm not going to write it again. So that's our range. Now let's go ahead and do our mapping. Don't you love my circles? They're so pretty. Domain and range. The domain always goes first. Let's put those numbers in our domain. Let's go ahead and put them in order now. 0, 1, 2, and 4. Those are the numbers in our domain. Let's do the range. 3, 5, 6. Now let's do the mapping. The 0 is mapped to the 5. The 1 is also mapped to the 5. The 2 is also mapped to the 5. And then the 4 is mapped to the 6. And there's another 2 that's mapped to the 3. Uh-oh. Notice how the girl, the 2, has more than one Y. The boy. Remember X and Y chromosomes? That's why I use the X and the Y. So that X, that female, can't have more than one Y. So this is not a function. The end. In this lesson, you learned how to determine whether a relation is a function and also to identify the domain and range of each relation. Thank you and have a great day.